Hey guys, it's Tombox here, welcome to MST.TV, and I got a preview deck profile for you guys regarding the Golden Castle of Stromberg Fairy Tale deck. That's right, Leon von Schroeder's deck versus Yugi in that filler arc of the Kaiba Corp Championships or whatever. Now, regarding this, the deck profile, of course, most of these are proxies. If you guys want to gain access to these proxies, you can by going to my Discord link. Now, before I get into this deck profile, I just want to tell you guys that this is not a 60 card deck. Mainly because of the heavy cost coming from Golden Castle of Stromberg, but this deck does play very similar to Goki's in the fact that it does use warriors as an engine. So Isolde is going to be one of the key components into opening big combos. And due to the fact that Golden Castle of Stromberg has the exact same cost as Pot of Desires, except that you have to pay it every standby phase, it does make you tweak your mind when it comes to building a deck, revolving it, because you just don't want to go into 40 cards. But I'll go into every single card in detail on how they work and why I chose to play them at this ratio. This is just a foundation deck profile. Change it up as you will, because I know there are other variants that like to capitalize on that maximum banishing, like using Gren Mayu de Iza or Eater of Millions, just pile on and just go for that one-shot hit. And it makes sense because you want to race your opponent because you're under the clock the moment you play Golden Castle of Stromberg. But anyways, now, if you want to support me like many of you guys already have, you guys can go check out the Patreon link down below if you want to invest my ability to make Yu-Gi-Oh videos for you guys. And you guys, of course, get early access to all the proxies. Cyber Dragon's coming out soon. In fact, I think that one's actually going public very soon. You can get those downloaded at my Discord channel. Check it out down in the description below. And also check out the Patreon link down below because love you all. Now, let's get into this profile. And I just want to give you guys a reminder that this is a TCG variant, so I am running Summon Zork, but there is no tuner access of the Crystron Needle Fiber, just a heads up. So starting off with the deck, I'm going to start with two Cinderellas, and I'll explain their effects as I go. Starting with her effect, when this card is normal or special summon, you can special summon one Pumpkin Carriage from the deck or hand, which is pretty awesome. And if Golden Castle's on the field, you get to equip that glass slipper straight onto the field, which is pretty awesome for her. And if she inflicts battle damage, you can re-equip the glass slippers and basically kick it off and re-equip it to your opponent so that they can't attack unless they're a fairy. Then don't do it because you're giving them a 1,000 attack. Now, regarding all these monsters, there's two engines, Cinderella and Iron Hans. Cinderella is your defensive engine because it sums up Pumpkin Carriage, and Pumpkin Carriage, well, I play two of, protects Golden Castle of Stromberg. This card also lets Cinderella attack directly, so this is your way of chipping away about 1,300 worth of damage, and you don't even have to re-equip. You can just keep punching. But 1,300 damage is not exactly a lot of damage. It doesn't really put them on the clock. In fact, you're still behind on the clock thanks to Golden Castle of Stromberg's heavy banishing cost. So you don't want to deck out just using Cinderella. So she's not exactly the most viable engine, but she doesn't have any restrictions either, because the summoning effect coming from her doesn't exactly restrict you from any other special summons, so that's good. So you can use her as link material. In fact, she can be an engine for most decks, but it's kind of weak because these are very garnety, and it's a pretty big dead draw. However, if you're running Golden Castle, it's not as bad because you can actually just normal summon one of these and sit on a Golden Castle, and they can't attack you. If you have the right amount of background to protect your stuff, it's still okay. But that's not exactly what I'm aiming for. So she's still pretty good, but I honestly prefer Iron Hans' engine. So Iron Hans is the second summoning engine. And all these monsters, they gain additional effects or unlock or get unhindered by Golden Castle of Stromberg. So let's take these out of the way. So two Cinderella and two copies of Carriage. Next, let's go into a card that you have to run 3 of. If you're not running 3 of this, I don't know what you're thinking. You're just crazy, because consistency matters, and you need to see Glyph the Phantom Bird. Glyph the Phantom Bird, in your hand, discard it. It is Golden Castle of Stromberg. It is one of your access of your 9. Now, when this card is normal or special summon, on the other hand, you can target one card in your opponent's spell and trap zone and destroy it. So this is your MST, which is why I don't run a lot of spell trap removal, because Glyph the Phantom Bird is the spell trap removal. And notice that most of these cards, including Cinderella, they are normal or special summon. In that regard, that means the graveyard recursion of these cards are very, very good. They have a lot of effects. You can use that to gain advantage and move forward. Then we have the second engine, Iron Hans. Iron Hans engine is a bit more restrictive if you don't have, let me get the third Iron Hans out here, which is 3 Iron Hans. Why am I running 3 of this guy? Because when this guy summoned, you summon out Iron Knights right here. Because the Iron Knights need to get summoned from this, I'm running 3 and 3 because the banishing cost of Golden Castle of Stromberg is quite hefty, and you might lose a couple of Iron Knights here and there. So like anything that plays Pot of Desires, you need to triple up because it does matter what you banish. And Iron Haunts is actually pretty awesome when it is summoned, some of the Iron Knight, and when it's on when Golden Castle's on the field, however, you might reconsider whether or not you want to summon this card, because you don't get access to your extra deck. You get locked out from special summoning monsters from the extra for the rest of the turn, so that's a pretty hefty cost. If Golden Castle's on the field, every Iron Knight's on the field, you gain 1000 attack. So you can use it as a beater, but it also weakens all your Iron Knights, because all your Iron Knights, which I'm running 3 of, loses 1000 attack for if you control an Iron Hans. So that really sucks. Luckily it's not per copy, but it just in general it loses 1000 attack if you control an Iron Hans. If this card is destroyed by battle, or if this card on the field is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can add Iron Hans from the deck to your hand. But if Golden Castle's there, you can add any warrior. This is a once per turn Sangan, but notice that they're both level 4 warriors, which gives you very quick access to Isolde, and also because they're all Earth Warriors, you have easy access to Naturia Beast, and that's one of the combos I'm going to be showing you guys in a bit. 1 copy of Hextrude. This is your big beater. I'm not sure if you really want to open with this card. You don't want to clutter your hand full of this, but she is very good. If you summon her out, you can even use her to pop your own Golden Castle of Stromberg, just so that you can get the double attack. Now, notice that once per turn, if Golden Castle of Stromberg is on the field, you can target 1 card on the field, destroy it, and if you do, this card can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase this turn. So you get a double swing for monsters only. You can only get 1 hit if it's just your opponent, but if you destroy a bonus monster by battle, you can target a face-up monster you control and have it gain 400. So you can boost her up to 3k, which is actually pretty damn awesome. But again, it only swings on monsters, so it's very similar to BLS, and you get the pop card. You can pop that Golden Castle of Stromberg. The pop is generic, so that's pretty awesome. And if this card's in your hand, it's not too bad if you have Golden Castle, right? You can just normal summon her without using any tribute, so that's one of your push engines. Now that's it for the Fairy Tale monsters. Now let's look at the side, or not the side monsters, but like the other monsters I have to run. I'm running a pair of Necrophases just so that I can recycle my entire Banish Zone, because having a mandatory cost and really relying on the field spell is going to fill up your Banish pile. Some people are choosing to run a full Banish engine, which includes the Eater of Millions and also includes the Grand Mayu de Iza, where you can hit them for 8,000. It's honestly a very smart thing to do, because it's just naturally synergizing in that direction. But if you do go into Grand Mayu de Iza, you just can't, you can't use your Golden Castle to summon out cards. So I'm not sure if I want to go there. And if I have to summon Necrophase, I'm already forced into it. But if Necrophases get banished, just remember that you're on a shorter clock, so you might want to get rid of your own Golden Castle of Stromberg. I run a pair of Ash just because Ash is really good and I can't really fit anymore. I'm not even running a 40 card deck just because the amount of banishing. But Ash is just a generic card. 1 BLS because I need to push for damage, and BLS is pretty easy to set up already. And you're not really going to go into BLS in the very first turn. You can search it out in the first turn, and you can set it up for the next turn. If your opponent does not kill your board, you can use it to wipe your opponent out. And due to the fact that this deck is not reliant on normal summon, you can use Grinder Golem. If you have Grinder Golem plus the Golden Castle of Stromberg, it's pretty nasty because you can easily set some very, very big links. Unfortunately, we don't have Security Dragon, so it's not as crazy where you can set up the initial firewall and just kill your opponent with, you guys get the idea. Topologic Firewall. I run 1 attack unit to get access to the Naturia Beast, and 1 junk forward because I need the extra warrior to get to that Naturia Beast. But I have other ways of getting there too. But that's it for the monster lineup. So let's go into the spells. Let's go with Golden Castle of Stromberg, the 3 must-have plays. This card is really awesome because, well, during your standby phase, you have to banish 10 cards, and what's better than banishing 10 cards that's mandatory? So it is a banish 10 cards face down from the top of the deck as a maintenance cost. That's pretty bad. It's really hefty cost, which limits your turn to about, I think, about 4 turns, and you're basically dead. However, you gotta hinder this a bit, but you can also get some free summons out of the deck before that happens, because it happens during your standby phase. Here's the thing. During your main phase, you can special summon 1 monster that lists Golden Castle of Stromberg in its card text straight from the deck. That is amazing because you can summon out anything. You can get out any utility. You need to pop a back row, go for the Glyph. You need the extra summons, go for the Iron Hans. You want to protect this field spell, go for the Cinderella. You want to go push for game, go for Hextrude. So that's a lot of options The summon's only once per turn. It's hard once per turn, so you can't just play a second copy. And when your opponent declares an attack, destroy the attacking monster. And if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half of that monster's attack on the field. So in other words, they get kind of magical cylindered, well, halfway there, and they get their monster pop. In other words, any smart player would never touch this card by attacking, because that would be extremely dumb. Let's just be honest. If you attack, this is not like the anime where it's like, I'm not gonna tell you what this card effect does, guess you'll have to run into it and then like get really screwed over. Yeah, that's not the case. So Golden Castle, really awesome. Mainly use it for the summoning effect and to protect your monsters. So the other card you have to run, because you want to get to Golden Castle as soon as possible, triple terraforming. That's just a bit of a given. 1 terraforming leads to 4 cards into the deck thinned out, so that's pretty awesome. Better draws. Now we have Glass Slippers and Moonmere Shield, mainly for Isolde targets. Glass Slippers, I don't even really want to run this card because I hate drawing this card. This is like a Garnet. This is more Garnet than Pumpkin Carriage. Pumpkin Carriage at least protects your field spell. This is just like, sup. I'm pretty. That's it. Moonmere Shield at least gives you something useful to play with, and you can set this card or activate it and get rid of it, put it back into the deck, and then use Isolde. So it's still really, really good. This is like a given card. But yeah, I don't even summon level 2s out, so I might even consider cutting this card, if anything. Next up, you have to run Call by the Grave. Your whole deck is so dependent on that field spell going off. Luckily, when you activate the field spell, it can't be like really hindered by anything. You can't ogre it right away. You have to ogre it on the summon. So your opponent can either ogre it or ash it, which makes 1 Call by the Grave copy pretty good, unless your opponent counters with a Ghost Spell. But yeah, I think stopping an ogre is more important than the ash. But the thing is, if you're playing against Golden Castle of Stromberg in the future, like, what do you do? What should you do first? I think the first thing you should try is the Ogre. If you have Ogre and Ash, try to get rid of this off the field right away. Part 1. Part 2 is, if they do manage to Call by the Grave, at least now you have an Ash for the monster they summoned out. So at least you can have a follow-up in that regard, even if they use Call by the Grave. But Call by the Grave, really awesome stuff. Now, we want additional monsters, especially when you want to play the Isolde combos. You need extra warriors. And what better warrior are there than, I guess, Sky Striker Mega Drones? These Hornet Drones, these Horny Bits are just there for fodder. They can sometimes get retrieved by the Kagari, but I don't exactly run a lot of the Sky Striker links in my engine. Also run 1 Rhoda for that 1 copy of Junk Forward. But you can also use it to fetch out Iron Hans and get the normal summon. That also works out. Or maybe add it to your hand so that you don't lose so many copies. As for 1 tech card, I'm playing 1 copy of Iron Cage. Iron Cage is one very interesting card. When this card is activated, send 1 monster you control to the graveyard. That's it. But if Golden Castle of Stromberg is on the field, you can instead send 1 monster your opponent controls to the graveyard. Notice that this card does not target, so this is non-targeting removal. And once per turn during a standby phase, target 1 monster in the graveyard that this card sent there by this effect. Destroy this card, special summon that monster. So it's like kind of like a share the pain, send them away, and then pop this card, and then you get to Monster Reborn it. So it's like a 2-part effect. Your opponent probably wants to get rid of this before anything happens. It's a continuous card, but then again, it doesn't help you combo. So this is more of like a going second card to break boards. I like that it doesn't target, so a lot of the big problem cards, you can use this to actually get rid of it. Does not destroy and non-targeting send. As for my other summoning, Soul Charge, because Soul Charge is Soul Charge, you really only need to revive 2 guys and get 4 monsters on board. That, to me, is already really good. If you get a link with it, then you can even perhaps perform an extra link on them. And 1 Monster Reborn, because Monster Reborn is also pretty busted in a deck that can get their triggers off of special summons. As for my trap, I'm running 3 traps, backs to the front. Just revive your cards. Toss them into the graveyard, just revive them as soon as you can. That's just my take on it. Because if you can get to the point where you've already banished most of your deck, you summon out 1 Necrophase, each of these back to the front can actually offer you a lot of stuff. Say you had 1 copy of Golden Castle Stromberg, and you already banished a ton of cards. say you already banished a ton of cards, but you have a lot of resources in the grave that you can use again. So you can activate Golden Castle to bring out your second engine, and then use Back to the Front to trigger off the first engine once again. So you get 4 monsters in one turn, and if you manage to maintain your previous board, your opponent's basically dead. You can pretty much OTK them at that point. So that's basically the entire main deck. So let's go into the extra deck. A lot of the damage that you deal is like actually going to come out from the extra deck. So I 1 Link Rebo, 1 Link Spider. Why? Because Grinder Golem plays. That's the only reason you have these. You don't have Scapegoat. 1 Kagari, 1 Shizuku, because you have the tokens and you can actually get rid of those tokens into these Link monsters, which is pretty useful if you actually need to retrieve the extra token card and get another copy. That's mainly why they're there. 1 Akashic Magician, Grinder Golem plays. 1 Isolde. 2 reasons. First of all, she's light, so she gives you access to BLS banishing because this deck doesn't exactly have a lot of light targets in there. And second of all, you get to add a warrior, so the BLS goes to hand, and you get to actually go into Naturia Beast through this card. So that's actually pretty awesome. And this card, how do I get the dark monster? Because the deck also doesn't run a lot of dark monsters. You can use Summon Sork. Summon Sork can get there. Sorry, OCG guys, but you can also use Akashic Magician, but a bit harder. Nightmare Package. I'm not running the Griffin because I don't want to play a grind game against my opponent. And it's just very, very difficult to actually grind it out. But you can try to establish the extra link still with all this stuff. If you get these triple link down here, it's still very, very painful for opponent to actually get out of this. So regarding this, yeah, Nightmare Goblin giving the extra summon. Why the extra summon actually matters is because not every time you're going to use a summon from Golden Castle Stromberg. The extra normal summon could mean this. Basically, you can go into your Cinderella, and then you get yourself that one side, and you can also go into the Iron Hans, and then you get yourself the other side, which gives you a ton of monsters to play with and kill your opponent. That's just my take on why Nightmare Goblin is still pretty damn useful in this case. 1 Summon Sork. This is actually partially due to the fact that you can keep comboing against your opponent when you go into Isolde. You can go directly into that combo where you can go into Nat Beast, or you can go into Nat Beast through this, where you can actually set up the BLS a little bit faster. 1 Topologic, 1 Firewall Dragon. Why these two? Because Topologic and Firewall Dragon are kind of useful in that Grinder Golem OTK. In other words, you're just trying to push for a ton of damage very quickly. 1 Saryuja, because Saryuja's easy access. Digging 4 cards can help you filter out the cards that you want to keep versus the ones you gotta get banished by the cost. And 1 Nat Beast, because Nat Beast is Nat Beast, you can use it for the early game setup, and it really hurts your opponent playing Sky Strikers. And that's basically the foundation deck profile for me. If there's anything you want to change it up, by all means change it up. I'm just here to give you a bit of a guide of how to play this deck. I've already explained all their card effects, so maybe you guys can mix and match something a bit cooler. But I'm just going to show you one more thing, which is just a typical opening play that's very similar to Goki with this. Okay, for this combo, I'm just going to quickly demonstrate the Nat Beast combo and how you can extend it to BLS and follow up to an OTK later on. So, starting off with a hand that only requires a Golden Castle Stromberg and a Hornet Drones. This is just the additional push that is going to be completely over the top. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to do a bit of RNG with this card, so we'll see. Golden Castle will activate. I'm just going to put it right here because I'm going to show you guys what happens up here as well. And then I'm going to activate the Hornet Drones. Hornet Drones is going to give me that token, which is pretty awesome. This card's still in my hand. I'll probably just set it now, just so you guys know that there's a back to the front set. Activate Golden Castle. I am going to add myself summon the Iron Hans. This is given that I don't really get interrupted. And remember, I still have two other cards in my hand. If I'm going first, 3 if I'm going second. Iron Hans into the Iron Knight. Positioning does matter because you want to be able to get to that Nat Beast. And Nat Beast plus Golden Castle is pretty damn annoying because it can't kill your Nat Beast by battle anymore. So that's a huge plus. Now, we're going to use the token and the Iron Hans, or whatever that's like kind of in the middle, sandwich in between them. We're going to use those two to go into the Isolde. So go on the left side because I think I want to go into Phoenix later. So the left extra monster zone. And through this effect, upon summoning, I could add a warrior monster from my deck to the hand. So I'm going to add a BLS. So BLS has been added to hand. And now I'm going to use Isolde's effect. I'm going to send out 1 card to summon out my attack gainer. Which is okay. I can immediately go into Nappies right now. If you want to control it using a level 2, that's fine too. But right now, I have no means of summoning out this BLS. It's just not possible at this moment. So instead, what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to link these two off. Okay, so I'm going to link Isolde and the Iron Knight off. And I'm going to go into Summon Sork. And now I have my Dark. And later on, this is going to be like a firewall, easy access. There's a lot of things you can do with her. And then using Summon Sork's effect. Don't use the Summon effect to kind of toss a monster your opponent's side unless you really want to give them a card. Instead, you can target a face-up monster this card points to, which I'm going to target here, which is a warrior. And special summon one monster from your deck that's the same type as that and negate its effect, which is fine. I'm going to summon out an Iron Hans. The effect is negated, that's fine. And then I'm going to synchro these two off into a Nat Beast. Of course, you could have gotten to Nat Beast earlier, but I think this way I have the access to the Dark now, which is absolutely incredible. This is kind of like whatever if they break the board. Hopefully they don't break this. That's the main thing that you don't want to lose, and then you can set one back to the front. And then you technically, let me just grab the sleeves here, you still have 2 cards left. So you have a BLS and 2 cards in a Nat Beast and a Summon Sork. Of course, Summon Sork there's no beast targets in here. I kind of wish there was. If there was plants, there is technically a plant. Pumpkin Carriage is still a plant. I would be able to get a Glow Bulb from this. But this is not OCG, so I'm not playing Glow Bulb in this particular variant. Maybe I should change it up. Who knows? But that's as far as the your turn combo. If it goes into your opponent's turn, if they can't break this, or if Nat Beast is holding the ground hard enough, you can just go into end phase back to the front, summon out an Iron Hans, summon it into a zone that it doesn't really matter, honestly. You can summon Iron Hans right under here, and then using his effect, you could summon out an Iron Knight. So before I draw, I should shuffle up. Let's do the shuffle up right now. And then I draw a card for my draw phase. Apparently, there's another Golden Castle. It's kind of a useless card. And then we banish 10. Let's see how far we go. This is the RNG part. So I banished 10 cards. What did I lose? Back to your front, Golden Castle, Monster Reborn. Oh, okay, this is pretty hefty. But okay, I lost a pretty useful target. I lost my Hextrude. But overall, my Cinderella side is unhindered. So, using Golden Castle's effect, I'm going to summon out Cinderella. And Cinderella's effect, I'm going to get that Pumpkin Carriage, which allows me to basically fill up the entire board. Basically, I have this many monsters to work with. And if I can't kill my opponent's board with this, that's going to be on me. So, Cinderella also gets her slippers, which I completely neglected. So, there's that. But I don't think I'm actually going to bother with the slippers very much, because I'm just going to start linking stuff off into actually making something a bit more deadly. So I'm going to link the Summon Sork off. So there's the link this and link that. So great. And now I can put out a Firewall Dragon. Should I go into this one? I could technically go into some fun stuff with this one, but I'm not going to. Now I'm going to link these two off. Into a Nightmare Phoenix. Using Phoenix's effect, I'm going to ditch a card, pop a card. Firewall's effect will give me a summon. If I have another copy of Iron Hans or anything like that, I can summon out the Iron Hans, and then I can summon out 2 more monsters onto the field, which obviously is a bit of an overkill. But in that regard, at the end, I can still manage 2 cards for the BLS. And I think this is a lot of damage. If I can keep turning this into more and more cards, just to clear off one card after card after card, and then go for an OTK. So that's basically the combo I wanted to show you guys. If you guys enjoyed this video and you learned something about this deck, maybe you found some things that you can do with this deck, hit me up with a comment down below and a thumbs up, because I appreciate all of you guys. And as always, if you guys want to see more stuff from MST.TV, like feature matches and stuff like that, or more ruling discussions, or just discussions in general, hit that subscribe button, get the proxies down in Discord below. And as always, don't forget to hold on to MST.TV. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please drop us a like so we know we are doing a good job, and you can also subscribe to MST.TV for more fantastic videos by clicking on the button on the left. Don't forget to check out our partners at Imperium Duelist. They make really high quality mats, including some of my own limited edition release stuff. And if you want to check out one of our past videos, click here on the right. As always, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV, and I'll see you next time.